But what was the difference between, I guess, radio and I guess being live and in front of these people? Because it seemed like you just tackle both of them the same, and you've been very successful in both landscapes.
Well, radio was the goal because Tom Joyner Morning Show set the mode for a morning team where you have a host, the news person / lady voice / she was the serious factor, and then you had a comedian sidekick. And I knew if I got on a radio show, now I can talk about my shows. So the radio was the only way to promote back then. It was on social media, and radio was high. You wasn't just gonna buy no commercials like that. So we was out hand in hand with the flyers a lot.
You're right.
A lot, right? Flyer and the billboards on the poles before they made you start finding you for putting them up there. So I know y'all did all that with the house music stuff. So, but it was always a goal to get on radio, man, just to be on the radio. I tried to do GCI. Elroy gave me one audition, but he said my voice was too high.
Wow.
Because I didn't have that Rick Party W1075 WGCI, and I'm not, I still think my voice too high. Sometimes I hear on my stand up, I'll be like,
your voice is identifiable, man. Like
now,
your voice ain't now, right?
But, still,
but back then, they were like,
exactly. So now they know me through the drive-through. When I pull around, I thought that was you.
I put you some extra fries.
Exactly.
You want some money rings?
And my number. But Tom Joyner being who he was, man, and I saw what it was doing for J. Anthony Brown, who was the greatest comedian ever on radio, period. I don't care who else do radio for the rest of your life. You'll never have a quick-witted, funny dude like J. Anthony. And I just saw him this weekend. He came out to my show in Atlanta.
Wow.
But I definitely, the difference between the two mediums is the feedback. With radio, you just hope they laughing out there. Hopefully, if the people in the room are laughing, you assume that the people is translating.
Right.
But when you on that stage, you get it. And if you're not funny, you get it.
Right.
At least on radio, you don't even know. You be laughing. and that's another funny story here. They be like, people around that wasn't funny, So, but radio, man, I also suggest to any comedian, if you can get any type of feature, it ain't got to be, you ain't got to be the anchor. But if you could do something like Tom Joyner, they let me through the door. Nikki Woods, actually, who used to be here with Howard McGee, gave me a shot with a feature called Seriously Ignorant News. It was every Tuesday, 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I had to go from my house to Kennedy King College campus.
Wow.
In the dark of night on 63rd of Halsted at 4:30 in the morning when nobody out there but the crackheads, me and the police. And hopefully the police would be there before the crackheads on 63rd. But I did it for free for 2 years.
Wow.
But the point of it was, as they introduced my feature, here's Damon Williams. Damon, where you at this weekend? Oh, Tom, I'm going to be at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio. Seriously Ignorant News. Then go into my feature. So that was very valuable.
Wow.
It transitioned into whenever J. Anthony Brown was out, then Tom would let me sit in. Then Jay quit, or he retired, and Tom decided to fill his spot with 5 different comedians. So he gave Arsenio, Bill Bellamy, Shirley Underwood. Shirley left the show. Sherry Shepard and Kim Whitley, Lavelle Crawford. They all had a day. And I'm like, man, I thought I was going to get the job. And Jay was like, welcome, you got the job. I'm like, no, he brought in 5 different people and didn't give me one of them days at first.
Wow.
So, but they would always miss days and I'd fill in. So they called me the comedian behind the glass. And break the glass, here's Damon. So finally, in his last year, or maybe last year and a half, I got the Friday show.
Wow.
Right. So it's the Damon Williams Friday chair. And that meant I stayed with Tom until he retired. And on his last broadcast was Friday, my day. So I'm in there when Common called it in and Obama's calling in and people wishing him his goodbyes and all that. So, so that was great. And me and Tom still hang out to this day.
See, that's awesome, man.